Mm-hmm.
Okay. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I am James Haskell, along with my co-hosts Glenn Martin and DK in the background. We're excited to go live tonight. It's funny because we talked about in the offseason we're going to be doing a lot of these pre-recorded videos and putting them out there. But every time we go to do that, something happens. So we just figured we'll go live. So we're doing the same thing tonight. So first off, it's Tuesday night. Glenn, how you doing on this Tuesday evening?
Doing well. I'm excited about, it's been getting warmer around here lately. I know we got some rain on the horizon, but spring is coming, Jimbo. I mean, I absolutely cannot wait. Not only will we have Orioles baseball, but of course, the news never stops when it comes to the Ravens. And yeah, I just, the closer we get to another season and get the taste out of our mouth of last year, the better. The better. But also the draft is right around the corner, Jimbo. And that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about. Certainly we have our guest coming up, Cole Jackson, who has been, just diving into draft coverage. Absolutely just cannonballing into the deep end of draft coverage. And so we're going to have him on here. We're going to get his take. But Jimbo, I think the best place to start is right here in Baltimore. The Ravens have long since said that they were going to be doing everything they could to retain the services of Justin Madubuike, as he is he's a free agent, or he's an upcoming free agent, I should say. And they said, worst come to worst, if we cannot get a deal done, we will tag him. And that looks like what's happened. At least the deadline was today, 4 p.m., and the Ravens decided to ultimately tag Justin Madubuike. Did get a statement released from Eric DaCosta on it. He said, we were unable to agree on a contract extension with Justin before the deadline, and we'll use a franchise tag. Justin is a great player and person, and we will continue to negotiate a long-term deal with him. Now, they got plenty of time. They got a few months now. This buys them a few months of negotiating time, one-on-one negotiating with Justin Madubuike. You know the cat number. We had Daniel Reese on. He talked about the cap number and what it would look like. I believe he said $22 million, all counting against this year's cap, not spread out over no void years, none of that. So with that being said, do you think that this franchise tagging just tells you even more so that the Ravens are going to get a deal done with Justin Madubuike?
Yeah, not only are they going to get a deal, they have to. I think they have to get a deal done if we want to talk about fielding a team that is going to compete for a Super Bowl this year. Like, that might be dramatic. I know we still have Lamar Jackson under center, and we've seen him play with less talent. But if we want this team to be anything talent-wise what it was last year, we need the space. We need the space. End of story. We cannot function like this. So, to me, this just means we cannot. We really should not, right? Like, it is not beneficial to us as a Ravens, as an organization, and us as fans, to have him on the tag. So I'm excited for him because I think what this means is that both parties have painted themselves in a corner. Madubuike has painted the Ravens into a corner to know that this paycheck is going to be beneficial, more than 1 year, life-changing, all those things. And the Ravens, have done the same with saying, you're not getting out of here. You're not going to walk. We're not going to be silly. We're not going to be goofy. We're not going to be the New York Giants. And we're going to do this thing right. So I'm okay with it because he's one of those guys that's worth keeping around. I think it's just that simple. Every single year he's gotten better, and he's been really healthy. I say that, and hopefully he doesn't turn into Ronnie Stanley. But I'm completely okay with the signing. I say the signing as if it's already happened, but the potential that, it looks like it has to happen in a lot of ways. So I'm excited about it. I'm all for it. He's one of the guys that I would say, check that off the list. That's for me. That's a guy you negotiate with, right? There's other guys you just can't. PQ, you can't. Because he's going to want too much money, and other guys you just can't. Geno Stone, you can't. But you can with Madubuike. Let's get it right.
Yeah. No, I agree. And with that $22 million cap hit, Jimbo, it takes the Ravens to negative $9.5 million, 9.565 to be exact. And we know the 13th is right around the corner. They have to be under the cap by the 13th, which is, today's the 5th. So we're talking 8 days from now. The Ravens have to erase that negative number and be below the cap. And so I guess we can expect there to be some restructures on the horizon. Is that what you're guessing?
That or a deal could be done with Madubuike. It could be that simple, right?
Good.
Where year one, the deal is is a reasonable hit at least, right? So, but for sure, I think even with Madubuike's restructuring, you still got to sign your rookies. You still got to compete in free agency. Like these things happen every year. We're not just going to sit on the sideline and not compete in free agency. It's just not going to happen. So yeah, I think that the Madubuike thing will happen, the extension to lower that cap hit. And, whether or not they get that deal done, there will be other dominoes to fall. Lamar's, Marlins, Ronnie, whatever the situation is with there, and they'll figure that out. But certainly I think Lamar, Mark, and Marlon will be 3 dominoes that will fall. And I don't think they'll have a problem with it. The guys.
Yeah, no, they just get their money sooner.
Do you agree with me on Madubuike?
Yeah,
How do you feel? You feel like?
Yeah, I mean, I think all this did was buy them exclusive negotiating time. That's the only thing that the tag did. I don't think there's any chance he actually plays on the tag.
Yeah.
My only thing is like, and this is my question anytime when you talk about negotiation, like, why is the number now going to like in a month? Are the Ravens going to just go, all right, we'll give you what you want? Or is Madubuike going to go, okay, I'll play for what you're offering? Or like, why couldn't they have come to the agreement that they're probably going to come to in a month or two? Why couldn't they have just done it now? Like,
yeah, well, it's the same reason why the Ravens waited till today at 4 p.m., right? Like, when did they make the official announcement of the tag? What time was it?
2.
So, and I mean,
it was insane.
You know what I'm saying? This is what the Ravens do. They slow play everything.
Yeah.
They just slow play everything, give themselves as much time as they can. The only thing that I could see happening, I don't see this happening. I'm saying theoretically it could happen. I don't see it as likely because of the cap hit. But there could be some chance that the Ravens feel like it was a breakout year. They want to see what they can get out of him, allow him to test the waters one more time to like prove it before they give him the money in the following year, whatever. You know what I mean? There could be something like that. I don't see it. I'm just saying it's a scenario that could exist. I don't know what goes on in the front office in their minds. The only other thing that could be holding this up is what if his agent is simply like, hey, no guy at this position has ever done things he did. We want Aaron Donald money. Like, what if he's saying we want 30 a year? That's what Aaron Donald gets, right?
If I was his agent, you better believe that's what I'm saying. Every year
and
he's doubled his sack production.
There's no way Eric's giving him 30 a year.
Can't.
Yeah, you can't. Right, because you got look at them. I mean,
there's no way.
So what do? I mean, I guess you can play some gymnastics and you can say, hey, we'll give you a ton of guaranteed money, but we can't give you 30 a year. I don't know what's
important to him. Is it because some people don't even care as much about the money as setting the bar as they do. Like they want to set the market. And I guess the question is, does Justin want to be the guy who sets
it's so
the
interesting to
market?
Me because I have no experience with what they go through, but the role that I'm in, there are trends in a field sales role where you want to continue to improve your value and then have those around you do the same thing. So that way, the next place you go, you get more money and things like to a fraction. I understand kind of, but I've never seen myself as a flag bearer. My negotiation is my negotiation. Joe Blow can do his own thing. Right. Like, I don't understand that idea. I know other guys kind of embody that and
well, agents push that because they want their future clients to get more money.
I think it's like every time I feel like a guy tries to be a flag bearer, like look at Le'Veon Bell. That did not work out for him. Like there's so many other guys I just feel like it doesn't work for. Like, look, at the end of the day, when you guys are retired, nobody cares. You know what I mean? Like worry about you and your family is kind of the way that I see it.
Well, it's all agents, dude.
Yeah.
Worrying about their own pockets. They ain't worried about the next guy. They're worried about how the next guy can line their pockets.
Isn't it funny that I feel like if I ever got to be an agent, my only pitch would be, dude, I actually care about you.
I think you could do it.
Like I genuinely care.
I think you could do it. But as to Manny has a question here or a comment. 2 first-round picks for Madubuike isn't that crazy for some of the owners out there. Generational talent, EDC gets it done. Well, look, if no owner was willing to step up to the plate for Lamar last year,
yeah.
I ain't buying that an owner's going to give up 2
same
ones
scenario in that
and a 30 million a year.
Exactly, it'd be 2 ones and the big contract. No,
but I mean, he is a ridiculous talent. And Jimbo, if we see the same progression next year that we've already seen, what kind of numbers could Madubuike put up next season? I mean, it could be legendary, could be historic. But I think Cedarian Smith in the chat is making a good comment here that maybe the Ravens are using this tag as a way to see what the market is for, because there's a ton of D tackles hitting the market. Certainly Christian Wilkins being a big one out of Miami. And then what's going to happen with Chris Jones when he comes out of does he make it out of Kansas City? I think maybe they're saying, let's let that market get set because we think he's overvaluing what the market's going to be for great D tackles out there. And so maybe they're using that as a way to look, this is what the market is. See, we're giving you a fair offer and hoping that kind of helps their negotiation. I think Sedarian is making a good point there. Appreciate the comment there in the chat. But what do you think
what
about?
Do you think? Oh, really quickly. Sorry.
Yeah.
What do you you got me thinking? So Chris Jones is 29, Madubuike is 26. Who do you think gets we'll just say yearly. Like, let's not worry about the guarantee money. Who do you think gets the bigger contract from a year per annum basis? Who do you think gets it? Who do you think's worth it?
I think Chris Jones gets it for a per. Maybe not length of contract because he is a little bit older, and maybe for his own benefit, he might want a shorter deal. But I think he is, man, when he's not on the field, they're like 28th in the league when he's not on the field. Yeah. And when he is on the field, they're Super Bowl, caliber defense. So
yeah, because let's be fair to the Chiefs. Their offense was not the reason they won the Super Bowl this year. I'm not saying they were bad, but certainly that defense was the best Chiefs defense, and it has everything to do with Chris Jones. You're right.
Big part. I mean, he's that type of guy that makes everyone around him better. You take him away, their pass rush is, it's Spagnuolo trying to draw it up is what it would be. So yeah, I do think he sets the market. But man, Madubuike's trajectory is insane, dude. Just look at what he's done every year. There's no reason that agent shouldn't be going, he's going to be better than this next year. What is this worth? Look at it. Yeah. So it'll be an interesting thing to kind of keep a watch on. I want to get Cole's thoughts on that as well.
Yeah. Cole just messaged and said he's still working on putting the little ones down.
Well, while he does that, because we got a lot of draft questions for him, I do want to get your take on the video that we did see get released of J.K. Dobbins sprinting. We first saw a video of him running what looked to be, I don't know about full speed, but pretty close to it on a treadmill, and then doing some sprints on, I guess it looked like some turf or some sort of indoor turf. I think Ravens fans are curious as to what it could have been with J.K. Dobbins, and some want to see what he's got left in the tank. Think we could get him at a pretty good deal with all the running backs flooding the market right now. I can't imagine Dobbins is going to have he's not going to have a very robust market for himself. So I can imagine he'd be the cheapest if we decide to bring him back and he wants to come back. But here it looks like DK's got the video here ready. When you saw this, does this do anything for you as far as seeing what he might have left in the tank here, Jimbo?
All right, listen to the wheels. He's running better than last time when he came back, It was very noticeable after the knee. This is interesting to me. See how his right foot pitches out?
Oh, yeah, look at you analyzing his gait. I don't even see what you're talking about, but I know
he comes out like this. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has things. That's why it's interesting. But he looks great, man. He looks excellent.
Yeah. But more cutting is, for the Achilles, I guess the knee is more cuts. Explosive sprinting is exactly what you want to see out of a guy coming back from this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's I would agree with you there. Look, I think that didn't we talk about this a month ago or so? I'd be excited about getting JK back because, like you said, Glenn, I think his value might be highest here. The only issue is not JK himself, is not him as a player, but it's maybe the relationship that could be fractured to him in the front office. That's the only thing I don't know.
Yeah.
Where does John stand with JK, right? Because the dude's on the field and he's healthy. We know what he can be. And a 1-year deal isn't going to hurt anybody. In my opinion. So I say, and there's a ton of upside. Him, and if Keaton Mitchell comes back, that's a lot of explosive guys out of that backfield.
Yeah, and I guess part of the question is, does JK want to be back? Because he may want a fresh start.
Right. You're absolutely right. By the way, why did I waste my time on this? I don't hate Dobbins. I like Dobbins. I think he's a really, really good player. I just don't know if him and the Ravens get along.
Yeah, that's a good question, because I think there is some resentment from him and the old regime training staff that they had here. I think he did have some resentment towards them. Different staff now, but maybe he feels that part of the training staff was maybe part of the reason why he's had these injuries, and maybe he just wants a fresh start. I could see that in his in his case as well. But yeah, I mean, a lot of running backs hitting the market, and it'll be interesting to see how that affects. I mean, there's no doubt that he's going to have to. Is it fair to say he'd have to get lucky to find a team that wants to give him a role at this point, and much more than just a let's see what he's got?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, look, why not come back to the team that's number one if there's a relationship there, right? Like in my mind, once again, if I'm his agent, I'm saying, JK, if the Ravens call and you're a little upset about how things went, let's swallow our pride for a second and say, why not go to the team that still under a new OC was the number one rushing attack in the NFL? A team that, if you look how Justice Hill took off last year, imagine what JK would do with those wheel routes. Imagine what he would do with that short underneath stuff. Like, he's got to know that the opportunity is there. If Monken liked the way Justice works, imagine how he's going to have fun with J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw in the first game, we saw moments, and obviously scored that touchdown on that incredibly athletic play, and I know he ended up going bad for him there, but still, yeah. Do you think the Ravens call?
I think they find out what he's looking for. I mean, as long as there's haven't been any, like, because we don't know of any like behind the scenes conversations, any blow ups, any arguments, frustrations being let out after another devastating injury. If he said some things that can't be unsaid, you just never know. But if that's not the case, I say absolutely see what he wants and see if we can make it work. As long as he's healthy. And the question is, does he still have the speed, long speed? You bring the guy in for work, you see what he's got. If he's still got it, then let's see. Because it's weird. It's like not a lot of miles, but a lot of tough wear and tear, from just an injury standpoint. But I did want to get your take on something else. I saw a report saying that it's assumed by everyone around the league that Odell Beckham Jr. will not be back in Baltimore.
Yeah.
He'll be taking his talents elsewhere. So I wanted to get your take on that. And then also linked as a possible replacement, as a veteran replacement for Odell Beckham Jr., Michael Thomas of the New Orleans Saints, who's been, exactly.
I took him 2 out of the last 3 years in fantasy. So that's
damn. This is a personal issue. So what's your thoughts on Odell not likely being back and Michael Thomas being linked to the Ravens?
Yeah, not only do I would be happy for Odell to be back in the right price, but dude, I just saw online that I think PFF or somebody said that his most likely contract will be 1 year, $11.9 million. Who's giving Odell Beckham 11.9? No knock on Odell, but
I know.
I just don't see it, Glenn. I mean, am I missing something?
I don't think so.
You just came off of a season with an offensive coordinator who the last time, if I'm not mistaken, he was with Monken was a 1,000-yard receiver. And this year, Monken didn't want to draw him the ball, draw him up plays over Zay and the tight ends. You know what I mean? If Monken wanted him to have more opportunities,
there were some big moments though. They still did go to him,
definitely,
just not very often.
Right. I agree. There's still a place, like he still has value, and maybe it can be magnified in other places, but I just feel like physically he's just, it's like having a 1992 Mitsubishi Galant and then it breaking down and you need a brand new, you put a brand new motor in it, but everything else is still wrong. Still a 1992 Mitsubishi Galant, right? Like,
hold on. Odell was never, look.
No, but Odell, I'm making, you understand
more.
What I'm trying to say though. Make any car you want. It's a 1976 Corvette that's nothing has ever happened to it. All of a sudden you need to swap the motor out, but everything else you keep the same.
Yeah.
Like you don't do anything else. That's where I feel like he's at physically.
I mean, look, 35 catches, 3 touchdowns last year. So you can't look at those numbers and go, that's 11 million per. And I mean, it's a tough spot for him because it does seem like the Ravens did basically everything they could to help get him through the season as much as, like, we didn't see him doing a ton of reps at practice. Like, they let him do what he thought he needed to do to get his body up to play on Sundays. And yeah, I don't know how a guy like that, where you got to basically, man, I don't know. I don't want to say it like in a meme, but they bent over backwards to make sure this guy had everything he could just to show up on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever practice, that's up to you. How much practice time you need, that's up to you. Just be out there on Sunday. That's all we ask. And yeah, I think he's gone. But as far as Michael Thomas, man, I hate to say it because he was once a really good player, but too many injuries to the ankle and stuff. I can't. No, I don't want a guy who. I like what Odell brought to us. He brought a lot of veteran leadership. I don't know if Michael Thomas will bring that piece of what Odell brought, and I think he'll be more beat up by far. So no, I don't want Michael Thomas. And yeah, I'll be sad to see Odell, but I'm a little mad at Odell for not bringing Kim to the game and stealing some of that fame away from the Swifties.
Yeah,
still not over that.
Now I got to ask you 2 questions about quarterbacks. 2 teams that are in the AFC North, not being the Ravens, really quickly, because I think it's an interesting conversation. Per sources, the Browns have been the first ones to reach out to Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco has also been connected to the Patriots as well. Seems to be having a bit of a resurgence in his career right now. Everybody, Joe Flacco is like the sexy toy. Which this is like the first time in his career I feel like he's been like,
dude,
you know what I'm saying?
He's being courted, bro.
Right. Like, it's kind of weird. Not that Joe hasn't earned that. He was just in a situation where he was here forever. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the Browns have reached out. His preference is to go back to Cleveland.
Well, certainly there's no quarterback competition there.
There's no quarterback competition, Glenn?
No.
Wait, so you're saying if he goes back, he's the starter?
Come on, man. What, is Deshaun Watson going to dethrone the cannon of the arm that is Joe Flacco?
You're going to put $62 million on the bench?
No, I think that the Cleveland Browns they won't bring back Joe Flacco for that exact reason, because the fans will be screaming for Joe when Watson is disappointing them, and they don't want that noise. So I don't think they'll bring him back, which is a big mistake.
Yeah.
But I hope he goes to the Patriots, because I want him to be a double agent for all his former foes that he's taken down. Look, he gave us one last good one as a Raven by just laying an absolute egg.
He did. Now talk to me though about the Steelers situation, right? Like, it seems like things have cooled down with Russell Wilson. Who knows what's going on with that guy?
Dude, where do they get the audacity to say no to Russell Wilson and yes to Kenny Pickett?
Yeah, that's crazy to me. The other thing that's crazy to me too is I was watching Shefty talk about how not Shefty, RG3 talk about how basically him, Russell Wilson, and Baker Mayfield's numbers last year was almost identical, and Baker Mayfield's about to break the bank.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that Russell Wilson needs to break the bank. He's going to make $39 million from the Broncos this year, but what are the Steelers, what are they doing here? What do you want them to do? I mean, obviously we want them to play Kenny Pickett, but like, I guess let me ask you this. What do you think they should do if you're a Steelers fan, as hard as that is to imagine?
Well, I think they should give up on Kenny Pickett. That's what I think they should do. I think with the thing in the trend in recent NFL is we've seen player or GMs more willing to admit quicker that they may have made a mistake. Certainly with Eric DeCosta compared to Ozzie Newsome, I think was the case. Now some players do need development time, and I'm not trying to like say, if you don't get it done in the first 2 years, then you're a bust and get them out of the league. That's not the case. When you can see the growth, you can see to me, if you're the Steelers and you're not going for Justin Fields, who's on the market, and you're not going for Kirk Cousins, you're not going for Russell Wilson, any of these guys, all of them would be a massive improvement over Kenny Pickett. Then you're just doing your team a disservice. You're doing your stalwarts on the defensive side of the ball that have been there for years and are still playing at a high level, like Cam Hayward and Watt and Minka. You're doing all those dudes a disservice by just saying, you know what? We still believe in Kenny Pickett. No, it ain't happening. And I think Russell Wilson, the sad thing about him is I just think he's disliked by his teammates. I think he's a bit of a goober, and I don't think his teammates like him. And that's why, even though his numbers they weren't horrendous, and you could get him at a bargain because he's double dipping, you could probably pay him league minimum. He's still making over $30 million a year. I don't understand why the Steelers are going, we don't want any of this massive amount of quarterbacks that have flooded the market, including Justin Fields, who's young and has shown flashes of greatness. And I would be miserable if they went after and got him. They're going to stick with Kenny Pickett. Good, Pittsburgh. Do it. because he stinks.
That's wild to me. Yeah, I was actually talking to a Steelers fan at work, and he's not a big fan of Justin Fields. I thought that was kind of crazy as well. I mean, just the instant spark of him and Najee in the backfield, just from a rushing perspective, would already be a problem. You know what I mean? Like, if we're being honest. And the other thing too is yeah, I'm not a big. It's funny to me because Russell Wilson, I feel like, has some of the things that Ray had as far as like, you know, super religious, super outspoken, super like, you know, eccentric and things like that. But Ray will smack you in the mouth. You don't talk up to Ray.
And Ray was cool.
No, yeah, he was definitely cool. But
Russ ain't cool, dude. He's a goober.
Got the corny to him.
Yeah, he's a cornball.
You know what I'm saying? But even if Ray got corny, is my point, nobody was going to say that.
No, I wasn't.
Nobody on earth was going to be like, Ray, that was corny.
No.
I don't think so.
No.
You know, so, but yeah, I think it's craziness. So you think they stick it out with Kenny Pickett, huh?
That's what they're saying. They're like all those teams last year that said we don't want Lamar when they didn't have to, or the guy.
We want to pay. Let's pay Daniel Jones.
Yeah, all the teams saying we don't want Bill Belichick. Like, dude, you could have just stayed quiet. Why? Where do you get the gazungas to say anything? And look, I'm not a Bill Belichick guy, but the Commanders can say nothing about Bill Belichick. They should say nothing. They are nothing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, yeah. What the heck are they gonna do? Not that it matters. They're in the NFC.
They're gonna sign Joe. Oh, you're talking about? I thought you were talking about the Patriots.
No, the Commanders.
Yeah, the Commanders. Well, who knows? They got new
Kirk
ownership.
Cousins coming back.
Man, Kurt would be crazy. First of all, they got absolutely killed on the report card, but I guess it's a new owner.
Yeah, they could trade. They could trade back and sign old Captain Kirk back.
I think Kirk right now. The last rumors I heard were Atlanta for him.
Yeah, I heard that one too.
And that the Vikings are trying to get who else? All the Vikings were trying to get. Oh dang, I'm blanking on them. The Vikings. It was an interesting. Maybe it was Fields. Maybe it was Justin Fields they were trying to get. Oh no, it was somebody else. Oh, because you compare. Oh, who was it?
Who do you play for?
I don't know, but I just remember saying, "Oh, that might be interesting for Justin Jefferson." Oh, maybe it was Russell. It might have been Russell Wilson. Yeah, it was Russell Wilson. It was Russell.
Well, Russell loves to chuck it down.
Trey field. Lance. That was another one I did hear.
Oh, Baker. I think.
Baker. Well, Baker's going back to the Bucs, is what I've been seeing.
Yeah, me too.
But maybe not. I mean, they did sign Mike Evans. You don't. If they sign Mike Evans and then don't have a quarterback, what was the point of signing Mike Evans?
Right.
Just to try and sell some tickets and
yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. You know, and is Trey Lance going to be a true free agent at this point?
I guess so.
I don't even know what the whole.
People still buy into that guy?
No, I don't know. Trey Lance, I lost any hope for him when he was complaining about his competition. Stop. What have you done, dude, to prove? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, stop it.
Coach, I don't want anybody good playing behind me.
What?
I don't want that comp, dude.
Like,
I don't want that
how did you even? Now we know why you didn't go FBS.
I don't want to play against anybody good.
Oh my gosh. Anyway. All right.
So it looks like, unfortunately, I'm looking at the messages here. Cole is not going to be able to join us tonight. He's having some issues. So it's a real shame because, truth be told, built a lot of the show around that guy. And now he's not here. So that's going to make things a little bit more difficult. But I did want to get your take at least on the positions I've noticed, Jimbo, that the Ravens have invited for top 30 free agent visit or draft visits. And I want to get your take on at least the positions. You know, I see that they got 2 running backs already. Aldrick I'm horrible with names. Notre Dame running back Aldrick being called Little Gus by some people, which is interesting. Did have a meeting with the Ravens. Also, running back Braylon Allen out of Wisconsin had a meeting with the Ravens. Defensive tackle Braden Fisk out of Florida State. Also out of Florida State, wide receiver Keon Coleman. I really wanted to get Cole's reaction on Keon Coleman. He's an interesting height, weight, speed guy who it's weird. Like he ran a relatively slow 40 in comparison to his competitors. But then when doing the actual drills, like the catching drills, he was running all those drills at a much faster pace than the wide receivers that ran way faster in the 40. So like his play speed is way faster than him just standing and running in a straight line. Like, so I really wanted to get like Cole's opinion on kind of how that works. And then also Texas receiver Adonia Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, who broke the wide receiver, who broke the combine record for 40 time, 4.21 speed. A lot of people are saying he looks a lot like Zay Flowers in a lot of his route running and his ability to stop and start and then just absolutely leave defenders in his dust. That's another guy that's been has a visit for the Ravens. Also wide receiver Troy Franklin out of Oregon and defensive lineman Darius Robinson out of Missouri. So we see 2 running backs, 4 wide receivers, and a couple of D linemen. So, I mean, look, I know they always draft a D lineman every year, but when you see these, like Aldrich out of Notre Dame, he's the number 2 rated running back on a lot of these lists. So it looks pretty clear that they're targeting running back. And look, they're looking at wide receiver again, Jimbo. Like, would you be stunned if the Ravens go wide receiver in the first round again after doing it with Zay, doing it with Rashad Bateman? I mean, are they going to do it again, Jimbo?
No, I would be shocked. I mean, come on. I would be absolutely shocked if they dipped their toe in the wide receiver pool first round again. Like, guys, can we trade back and get the best guard in the draft? Can we, maybe find a tackle that I understand the notion that a starting tackle doesn't go that late in the draft, but you better believe you're getting the best guard out of this draft. In the second round, most likely. I mean, you probably don't got to you pick up a few picks. So I just feel like we can't get lost. I know that everyone talks about Lamar needing guys to throw to, but guys, he's got people to throw to. Like, let's not fool ourselves. Let's protect the guy. Let's build a moat. You know what I mean? Because look, Lamar's not going to be able to launch any of his grenades if the guy, there's no defenses protecting him, right? Like, he needs time back there. So, I would be pretty disappointed. You might get I might blow out an eardrum for you, Glenn. Whatever.
Oh no, you're gonna explode like you did last time when you were just shocked and stunned.
Look, we were talking about this pre-show. Everyone's testing really well this year, and all that's exciting. Everyone looks super athletic, but like, and this is not a knock, but let's be honest. Like, Odafe Owe tested really well. Yeah. Like, let's not get caught up. Let's not get swept. I know I'm saying let's as in not us.
And look, Kyle Hamilton tested horribly, at least in the 40.
Right. And then look how Geno Stone measured.
Yep.
So I mean, there's always I don't think the Ravens will, but I don't want the organization to get caught up in the hype of it, right? Like,
let the tape.
Yeah. Trust your eyes, trust the tape,
Yeah.
I don't know. Would you be surprised if they go wide receiver first?
I would be absolutely stunned. I mean, absolutely mind blown. Not to say like I don't like those players. I like those players, and would they be fits? All that, yeah. But to go wide receiver that many times with your first pick in recent years, especially when you got a pretty this isn't like when you write down the areas of need. You have to go down a few positions before you hit wide receiver, in my opinion. When you still have Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, and Nelson Aguilar. That's your starting point, and then you build around those guys. I'm not mad about that group, and I think I have no problem if they want to draft a receiver, just not in the first round.
Yep,
can't have that. Absolutely cannot have that. I think that would be kind of crazy. But now to make you feel a little better, they did have also an official visit with Oklahoma offensive tackle Tyler Guyton.
I know a lot of guys are excited about this guy.
Yeah, even though. I mean, look, we've been to Oklahoma a lot recently, and we did get a tackle out of there. Speaking of bad combine performances, Big Sloppy had one of the worst of all time, and that led to him slipping to the third round, and the Ravens were benefited by that slip, at least until he forced himself out of Baltimore. But another guy I think is interesting that's sliding because of an injury. Where is it now? I'm trying to find it. The Alabama defensive back, Kool-Aid McKestry, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. They found a broken bone in his foot during the medical portion of the combine. And although he was ranked right up there as one of, if not the top cornerback, at least one of the top DBs in this class, they're saying he will fall because of this injury. Is this another classic scenario where the Ravens take advantage of a player falling and get a first-round talent after in the second round or later? Do you think they could do that?
Yeah, no. I mean, this sounds like how the Ravens make their money, right? This sounds like what we do, right? So, yeah, this sounds like an absolute match made in heaven for the Baltimore Ravens. So if he does drop, it'll depend on how far he drops, if Eric thinks there's value there. And then obviously, first of all, how they feel about him as a player. But it could work out nicely because say that he requires surgery, we still have 1 year. We have 1 year. What the heck? We have a 1 year plan at the very least for both positions where we don't have to let Morgan go if we feel like, we're 1 year away from having a solid replacement. We don't have to let Ronnie go, or, we have this year taken care of if we need to, right? Like we don't have a better solution. So it's not like we could draft this guy and say, oh shoot, we got to shelf him and we're going to get hammered this year. That's not the case.
Yeah.
So it gives him an opportunity to really get healthy. So that'd be great. I'm not saying I don't know if, did he miss games at Oklahoma based on the foot? Like, do we?
Oh no, it's Alabama. You talking about?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't think he even knew it. Like, I don't know how you don't know. Maybe he thought it was just like a bump and bruise, but I don't think he knew that the injury was as severe. In fact, it looks like he plans to, while he didn't participate at the combine, to participate at his pro day and get the surgery after his pro day, and he hopes to be ready for camp. So, I guess, yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like it's a serious injury, but look, I just look for any way the Ravens can get a
for
more
sure
talented player later in the draft, and that looks like a classic scenario. He's an Alabama guy, which is a pretty good start as well. But yeah, I mean, a lot. The crazy thing is, and you touched on it a little bit, it seems like this year, more than I can remember, guys really trained for these events and probably put football a bit on the back burner while they just focused on being track athletes. Like the numbers we saw put up by offensive and defensive linemen are insane. The linebackers and edge groups, their speed, their cone drill, like they have, I mean, it's insane, dude. Like some of these guys are absolutely flying at a massive height and weight. Like it's crazy to see. And I guess the question is like, is this because like it's such a clear focus on these track and field drills and it maybe that focus wasn't in years past and players weren't necessarily focusing on doing track and field drills like they are now, because it's crazy. Every year it seems like they break records of previous years, Jimbo.
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about this pre-show earlier. I think the players are making the league work for them, not players working for the league. So it starts even right after the season is over in college, where guys are not doing Pro Bowl stuff. They're skipping all that, getting right, or Pro Bowl, bowl games. They're getting right into combine workouts and now they can have earlier relationships with agents, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
correct. Yep. Because with the NIL stuff, so there's a lot of that stuff that's already cooking and in the works. So I think we'll see more and more of that. I don't think it's just simply guys are more athletic. I think it's guys are just simply better prepared.
Yeah, I agree. And
so I don't know how much of it will simply, I don't know how much of it will be. So it'll be interesting how the league reacts to it, right? Like, will that be weighed even less? Do you know what I'm saying? As people see, well, look, yeah, this guy ran a 4.21, but the ball hit him in the face mask the other day.
Right, exactly. It's a lot more than just who's the fastest.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. But, man, when you see the tape and then you back it up with these on-the-field measurables, like some of these guards and tackles and defensive tackles and edge guys, I mean, it's really insane. Like the athleticism every year. I know we say it, but, man, it just seems like it went up another notch this year. Same with strength. Like, I mean, we had the running back out of Michigan, Corum. He put up the same bench press numbers as a lot of the offensive linemen are putting up. 27 reps at 225 from a running back. Like, these guys are just strong and fast. And, man, it's just every year it gets kind of crazier and crazier. But yeah, and the last thing I wanted to ask you, and it's kind of going back to, we talked a lot of JK, and we did in other episodes talk about the other running backs, but I thought this was an interesting report. Diana Rossini put out a tweet, because we've seen unprecedented cuts from a couple positions, and running back was certainly one of them where they're flooding the market. Safeties, I mean, the Seahawks cut Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs, both their starting safeties, both Pro Bowlers. They're saving $27 million in cap room, but it seems like those are the two positions taking a hit, and running back, Jimbo, taking a massive hit. Apparently, Diana Rossini tweeting out that the top two running backs in the tiers are Saquon and Jacobs, expected to make around 10 a year, with tier 2 running backs, including Derrick Henry, expected to come in around $6 million a year. So does that, when you hear that number, change a little bit when you hear you could get Derrick Henry for a cool $6 million?
Man, I'll believe that one when I see it.
I mean, lot of running backs in the market, Jimbo. You know that makes it
more
of a buyer's market.
I think maybe he ends up splitting the difference. 6-10. I say he ends up at 8.
Okay.
Is probably more likely. But even still, if he came in at 6, you fly me out. I'll fly out. I'll pay my own dollar. Fly me out to Tennessee and take the contract right to him. I'll serve him papers like a subpoena. Right? Hey, you just won a hamburgers for life, Derek. He signs his name on the line. You've been served, my friend. $6 million 1 year to the Baltimore Ravens. Here's a crab cake.
That's right.
I mean, look, I will be shocked though, won't you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on also how much he's weighing like contender, because I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe a non-contender probably wouldn't even show interest in him. Like,
right, because
it's probably only going to be contenders that feel like he's like the missing link. He's the guy that gets him over the top. But man, I was encouraged to see it. Like, wow, you're telling me, because $6 million, I think there's a chance. There's a chance if they do enough restructuring, clear up enough space, get the deal, the extension or the long-term deal done with Madubuike, clear out that $22 million. I think Dan Reese said that they could get his number down to around 11 or 12 at best for a long-term deal, which is $10 million better than where he's at right now. It's certainly a big, maybe he's part of that 10 million. Maybe Derrick Henry's 6 of that 10 million in available space that an extension brings. But man, I like hearing those numbers going down. Let's hope they continue to go down. And then I also want to get your take. Guys, I know we're jumping all over, but let's be honest. We plan to have Cole here, okay? So we're going to jump a little bit, and you're just going to have to go along for the ride here. I wanted to get your take on this just because I know you'd love to see it. A tweet came out talking about after the Madubuike from our friend Sarah Ellison. She tweeted this out. And how sweet is it that part of the building blocks, part of the guys that she looks at as a staple on this defense, not Odafe Owe on this list, Jimbo. Who's second from the bottom of this list, Jimbo, as a staple, a cornerstone of our defense, Jimbo?
Brandon Stevens, baby. Look, I used to say I was 1 of 1. I was 1 of 2, I think, on this with your cousin, with your nephew as well. That's being on that list. Yeah, man, shout out to Brandon Stevens, who has worked himself into a CB1 role.
There you go.
Right, like if Marlon wasn't here,
he's the guy.
Yeah, I think we would still be comfortable with him as our main safety. Look, I just want to throw another guy out there, Glenn, as from the draft, because you got a Utah guy here on the board as far as on the screen. You talk about Marcus Williams. There's one other kid, and the only reason Sione Vaki, he's a safety out of Utah, super active, but he reminds me. I'm not going to say he's Eric Weddle, but what I mean is that he reminds me of Eric Weddle in that he has been used throughout his career in a number of different ways. But the key with him is versatility. So he's obviously not Kyle Hamilton. He's not built like Kyle Hamilton. I'm not talking about that. But the ability to come down in the box, the ability to play out in space and play at a number of positions, be a really cerebral player, but also have that athleticism, that physicality. I smell a Baltimore Ravens pairing here. Is all I'm saying. I like the versatility of the kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm taking a look at him.
Yeah,
okay.
Keep your eyes out there is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's, the next coming of anyone. I'm just saying that it could.
Oh, look, this is why you like him. He's like Brandon Stevens. He was a running back, slot receiver.
That's what I'm saying.
School.
He's done so much. Yeah. Well, even in Utah, if I recall correctly, there were moments where they'd used him on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it did say he doesn't have much experience as a running back at the college level, but he had some.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got to pick some kind of athlete to even get some.
No doubt.
And it's not like we were short for running backs. If you look at the running backs that we got a
Dude.
stable back there, so even to be in the conversation.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, I don't know what position he's going to play because he's listed as a safety, but his first pro, as the pro on pros and cons, is as a receiver out of the backfield. His straight line speed smokes most college linebackers on wheel routes.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this kid.
Yeah, he's got the
super
speed.
versatile though, is all I'm saying. He's just a football player, period.
Yeah, you know what this guy screams to me? A special team specialist. Like, this is a guy. This is where Brandon Stevens really made his name and earned his stripes. Maybe that's where he starts until a creative enough player or creative enough coach finds a way to use and take advantage of his talents. But man, yeah, that'd be cool to see a two-way player, even if it is just in brief stints, just to see a guy do both.
Yeah, or even if he's dedicated himself to one side of the ball to be able to just move around a ton, especially if he's going to end up playing defense. I'm not sure yet, but just so versatile. That to me sings Ravens, and I think a lot about Mike McDonald's defense. But they said it. This is a Ravens defense. This is not a McDonald defense.
That's right. That's
right.
This has been in the works, Jimbo.
Yeah, man. No, it's exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, man.
Yeah, this ain't now look, guys, we still want to effort to get Cole on here. Sorry that he wasn't able to make it for this one.
We might have to call in hands picked, dude.
Yeah, we might have to Draftplex might have to
come out of retirement, dude.
Yeah, dude. We'll have to get Draftplex back in here. But no, in all seriousness, we'll certainly link up and figure out a better time to have Cole on here. Because man, I know this dude's got a wealth of knowledge between his ears that I needed to hear more about. And it's a little disappointing, but we are going to have him on here. That way you guys can hear all of, look, I know there's a lot of questions being put in our comments about prospects, and he knows the answers. We do what we can, but Cole knows his stuff. So we're going to have him on here, and we'll make sure we let you guys know when that time is. But I think that's it for us tonight, Jimbo.
Yes, sir. Right? Had a great time. I'm looking forward to it. Just like Glenn said, the weather's getting warmer. That means the draft's around the corner.
Who's my favorite Oriole right now, Jimbo? Shout out to Mark. He says, who's your favorite Oriole?
I have no idea who your favorite Oriole is.
That's a tough one. I might have to go Adley just because he was the start of the change. But, Gunner, Jackson, dude. We got a lot. Dude, I love me some Cedric Mullins. What that dude does, he's so underrated. People sleep on that dude. There's so many guys. Santander, I think, is an underrated guy. He'll hit you 30 bombs every year, no matter what. He'll hit you 30 bombs. Is that valuable? I think it is. I love Ryan O'Hearn. Ryan O'Hearn came out of absolutely nowhere and lit it up in Camden Yards. So I love our O's. I cannot wait. I will certainly be there opening day, as will DK. Jimbo will be there in spirit, but he's handling much more important things that day, I'm sure. Than
we'll see.
Yeah, than bats and balls, okay?
Well, there's definitely a bat and some balls going to be involved because we're having a boy. But
there you go. Okay, I thought you were going a whole different route. I was like, holy shit.
We're having a boy.
That's right.
So yeah.
But that's it for us tonight, guys. We will communicate on social media to let you guys know when our next show is. But have a good one.
We'll be back this week.
That's right. See you.
See ya.